I will call the Wednesday, August 23rd Planning Commission meeting to order. And may we have a roll call, please?
Chair Lowe,
Here.
Vice Chair Quilty. Here. Commissioner Andre,
Here.
Commissioner DeBolt,
Here.
Commissioner Gross. Here. Commissioner Solfolcanic, absent. Commissioner Zelmer.
Here.
With visitors.
Great. Maybe please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, oral communications. At this time, any individual in the audience may address the Planning Commission and speak on any item within its subject jurisdiction of the commission. Please state if you would wish to speak on an agenda item. Remarks are to be limited to no more than 5 minutes. Anybody like to speak? Perfect. Consent calendar. One item, the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on July 26. Any discussion? Any motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Absent.
Commissioner Andretti abstains. Okay, public hearing. Item 6A, zoning ordinance amendment 23-02, continued discussion of the permitting of short-term rentals. And at this time, I would offer the staff if they'd like to make a report.
All right. Chair Lowe and members of the Planning Commission, this is a commission discussion concerning the revision of the Los Alamitos Municipal Code to permit short-term rentals through a zoning ordinance amendment if the Planning Commission decides to go that way. During public comments at the January Commission meeting, a resident spoke concerning the permitting of residential units as short-term rentals in the city. The matter will be discussed tonight as a result of the commissioners having submitted a minute item in January. And then later on, we were asked to put a survey out to the public. And we have done that, and I will present some of the results tonight. Short-term rentals are not permitted in the residential zones of the city. Short-term rentals are considered to be hotels or motels and therefore are not permitted in the residential zones. And then the survey that we set up got an amazing amount of response, which I haven't seen a city survey go like this before. There were 451 responses. The survey went from May 24th through July 29th. It was spread throughout most of the neighborhoods pretty evenly. 80% of the people said do not allow short-term rentals in the city. 20%, of course, most of the rest were do allow. However, there was a few, no, let me look at that again. While I'm at it, let's get this right. Yeah, so no opinion was like 2% or something like that. Let's see, 2.8. Yeah. And we have passed out comments tonight that are from the survey. A lot of people commented, which is another amazing part of this survey. And interestingly enough, 50% of the people who voted said that they have rented short-term rentals in the past. So they're not, they're evenly split on that, which is interesting. So we put out the survey through Facebook. It was in weekly every couple of weeks to the city council for them to remind people. It was on a reception desk in the lobby. People could pick up, do a UPC, what is that called? QR code, and go through the survey there. It was in the News Enterprise as an ad. It was on our website. It was in an email blast a couple of times through the Recreation Department's email blast. There was a press release put out. We also talked about it at Good Morning Los Al, which was an event we had a while back to talk to city employees about things. And many people answered at that group. And then we also put out door hangers to every single house in the city, right? Yeah.
No.
And there's,
Somebody did.
yeah,
I didn't-
yeah.
That's how I got mine.
Somebody got paid to do it, so I don't know what's going on. So anyway,
Good.
so that is where we're at tonight. And if commissioners would like to permit these units in the city, they can direct staff to draft a resolution of recommendation to the city council with a draft ordinance for short-term rentals. So it's now up to you to discuss that and tell us what you decided. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Should we ask any questions of staff?
Where was the greatest response out of? I know I looked, but then I just.
Apartment row.
Apartment row, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apartment row, just under,
And I do not wish
oh,
to
yeah.
discuss,
Right.
too, yeah. And the I do
So really-
not wish, yeah.
But not like a huge number, not like a huge,
No, they were pretty, they're based on the size of the different neighborhoods, it's almost based on that size. It's a statistical equality there.
are these,
Kind of strangely
are
enough.
these equal sized, you say? There's equal number of residents?
No, not in each neighborhood.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because
So
that's also
the
skewing it.
neighborhoods that are small have a small response. The neighborhoods that are big have a big response.
Gotcha.
yeah.
So you're saying it's pretty much you get a certain, same percentage of respondents from everywhere.
As the percentage they
More
are of
people in
the city.
apartment row, therefore there's more
Exactly.
response.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'd just say it's, compliment the staff on really getting it out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like, save the template for future,
Yeah,
anything that you need to do, if there's ever question about notifying, keeping people informed,
Well, I think
What's
this
going
is
on?
also a hot button item.
huh?
I mean, people have a strong opinion
Oh,
on
yeah.
this one.
Right, right.
Yeah, but this is really helpful for us.
Absolutely.
You know, thank you for taking our,
we have a new
advice.
director now. Look what happens when we get this new
Yeah.
director in this new seat here. These are the things.
It's
Oh, no.
very much appreciate, putting that out there at least so that we could get some valuable information to make an educated decision.
yeah. It was very fun, but it's very expensive at the same time, so
Well, I
that's,
think it's-
that's part of it.
I think something like this is worth the money when
Mm-hmm.
you're, to get the feedback. I mean, we all live, we all live in throughout
Yeah.
the city in different neighborhoods, so I mean, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and we all think we know, but we all know we don't know.
I mean, you got, seven people who have an opinion about it, right?
Right.
Versus what's actual, and this is, it's not actual, but it's a very good representation of what we're finding out there. I mean, the whole point of this is that we're trying to do what's best for the community. And so to get the community involved in the decision-making, really, for something this big it's a good way to do it, I think.
I think what's unique about this is that while we know the importance of it, how many people really heard about it until it started getting advertised? And it was pushed in such a way that it does show we do advertise in this town. And that's where the significance to me is that we have always reached out in a multitude of ways. This somehow got the attention of residents to respond. And that's what's significant. We do it all the time. We now even have a foundation to see where we get our best responses, whether it's going to be from a QR code, whether it's going to be through social media or whatnot. We have a representation here as well. So I commend the staff because I know it's a lot of work to do these things, especially when you're trying to break it down and get percentages. And I really do appreciate it. I know all of us up here have some thoughts about whether to do this or not, but as far as the survey, but I think this is one of those that does show our community does look and will get involved on hotbed items.
Anything else? Anybody?
No?
Well, this is a public hearing, and I'd like to open this up to the public to speak. Anybody like to speak from the public? You, ma'am? No? Miss? No, don't want to speak? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I will close the public hearing then and bring it back to the commission, and if anybody, okay, go ahead.
Interesting, before you made the comment tonight about those who use them don't want them in their neighborhood. So I asked several different people that I know they were headed to different places on Airbnbs, and I said, do you want one next door to you? She goes, oh no, none of them. Not one wants it in their neighborhood. They like using them as long as it's not in their backyard. And I found that interesting. So and I totally get it. And basically their complaints and concerns were they could have parties. So what if you can control it? The damage is done before you can control it. So there is that latitude of, no, you have to call the police out, they have to do the stopping, and they're having to deal with it in the meantime. They're worried about the type of people that might rent. I understand that too, whether the younger people, older people, partying people, what they're doing. They have no control, and for how long. Maintenance of the property were some of the things that they brought up, that they were concerned that people that use these for Airbnbs won't really care as how they look on the outside. They just want the money for the rentals. So some of those were concerns that they had, and not knowing how long the person would be, whether you'd have one that's a shorter, one that's a longer. So some of those were the things that they provided feedback to me. I can appreciate all of theirs, and I'm looking at some of these comments and going through the stuff tonight and seeing how we got our surveys. I tend to go along with the average person in this town, as far as I wouldn't want it in my backyard either. And so I'm kind of leaning that way. I am surprised that the individual, the lady that actually brought it to us isn't here tonight, and I was surprised at that.
Yeah, either anybody really, to speak on the item if someone wants to push it through, so. Anybody else?
I'll add something. While it's obvious it's a resounding no for the city, it's also interesting because, it says 50% of the people have used them, 50% haven't. But you also look at the correlation between people who say, do you want them in your neighborhood? No, 83 and 80.27%, and then even if they were approved, would you turn yours into one? And 83.11% said no. So the resounding people who respond to this are the parties against it. So whether this is a fair representation, I don't know, but it is definitely a representation I think we all should consider. And for that reason, I guess I could bring a motion now to
I think I don't think we have to bring a motion, do
deny
we?
short-term rentals in the
We
city.
need a motion?
Yeah,
Oh,
yes,
sorry.
there were two staff recommendations, either to move forward with bringing back a resolution recommending code amendment,
Okay,
and the second option, which is I think where we're heading, would be to discontinue consideration of the permitting of those
Gotcha.
uses.
I will raise that motion to discontinue.
I'll second.
so we have a first, and Mr.
Second.
DeBolt, the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to public hearing item B, which is a site development permit 23-01, continuance of a future meeting for a 3-story, 4-unit multifamily residential project. I guess we could, like to-
I have conflict.
okay.
My knee's bad. I'm using your chair.
Oh, okay. I thought I was in,
And I need it.
I thought I was in your way.
No.
Okay.
Oh, is this the one she's within 500 feet
Yeah.
of or something?
Yeah. So at this time, I'll offer staff to give us a report.
Okay, Chair Lowe and members of the Planning Commission, Site Development Permit 2301 is a consideration of a site development permit to construct a 4,664 square foot, 3-story, 4-unit residential project on a vacant parcel at 10912 Walnut Street. The applicant is not here with us tonight because he would like us to continue this to the next month to give him more time to finish the plans. He thought he would have it last month, and it just didn't work out in this month either, so. So it was published. We're continuing it, and it does not have to be published, but the City Council has been asking us to notice things more lately, so we will notice it again.
Okay.
And in the paper next month. And, I mean, if you continue it.
Right.
And so it would be needed to be continued to the September meeting, which is the 27th?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, 27th. And so it would be to a date certain, and provide the applicant time to make changes. And staff recommends that the chair open the public hearing in case someone's here tonight.
Yeah.
That wants to talk about that, and receive the comments and continue the item in our recommendation to the September meeting.
Let me ask you this, if we don't have an item on September 27th, what happens? We still have to come back because we've notices to that?
No, we could, we'd have to renotice again if
So we're okay. If we didn't have anything other than this, then we
would
could
have to
renotice.
Renotice at the next time we decided to do it.
Okay, just want to make sure about that.
And then we put a sign on the window that says the meeting has been canceled if it is, you know.
Gotcha.
and-
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open this meeting up to the public. If anybody would like to speak on this item? Ma'am, you're not here for this one either? Okay. No problem. Okay, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission. Anybody would have any questions or comments?
This is for a 4-unit. Okay, but are they doing an ADU in addition?
Yes. Is this built in anticipation of an ADU? Yes.
That would be a 5th unit then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so will we be involved in, I'm just.
We're not allowed to think about the ADU.
We're not, that'll be, we'll treat this just as a,
As if it were a 4-unit.
and then, all right, fine, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Any other comments or questions? Anybody like to make a motion?
Move to continue?
I'll second. Is that a motion?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll second.
Commissioner DeWalt made a motion to continue this meeting to the September 27th meeting, and Commissioner Andretti seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll have Commissioner Vice Chair Gross join us.
7:22.
Item 7 is a discussion. Any discussion items? No discussion items? Any staff reports? None?
Oh,
And then items from the Development Services Department.
So I'll go ahead and spearhead this. Thank you, Chair Lowe and members of the commission. I will be presenting a few different topics, but I did want to mention that from our last commission meeting, we had discussed an item pertaining to noise nuisance as it relates to construction and repairs. So what you don't see is that it will be brought back at a future meeting, anticipating that we're hoping for the September meeting. So that would be potentially another item that we would be bringing back. So staff is hard at work just trying to provide more data and research items from the last meeting. So that's one item that I'd like to discuss. The other items pertain to Commissioner polos. So we're hoping that by the next meeting, we'll have the polos on hand. We should have received the various sizes of the commissioners. If you hadn't, please let us know, and you can arrange that with Gabby. As you may or may not know, the ALUC item that was brought at the council meeting unfortunately did not, unfortunately, depending on where you stand on it, was not overruled. So just bringing that forward if you didn't know. So
Can you explain that to me, what exactly that was? Because I was confused about it.
Yeah.
yeah.
We haven't agendized this for a discussion tonight, so we can't go too far into it. I would just, if you haven't, I would recommend that you all read the city council staff report from this week's meeting.
I did.
And then if you have any additional requests or clarifications, just contact me directly.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to have that conversation with any one of you.
All right.
The next item is the Celebrate Los Al event happening Saturday, September 16th. That'll be before the next Planning Commission meeting, so I wanted to make sure there was a plug for that. And in particular with Pine Street's grant program that we're offering to our Los Alamitos-based restaurants. And so what that is it's an opportunity for each restaurant that's interested in the event to participate through a grant program that offers up to $5,000 for marketing, food, and labor costs related to the event. So thus far, we have about 7 restaurants locally that are going to participate, and we're just trying to spread the word. Our goal is to try to get 20 total. But otherwise, it's fast approaching, and the event itself is all day, so I'd really encourage your attendance at the event. There was another reminder about the DocuSign that will be taking place soon, and our anticipation is at the next meeting, we will be offering DocuSign for reports. So that's another thing to look forward to. And then lastly, an update on the museum. I'm not sure if you've been aware, but the museum has been getting a facelift, particularly the floor. What previously had carpet was removed, and now it's some fresh new red paint that was under the carpet and was difficult to remove, so we're going to retain that color, and then they're doing some facelift, some touch-up on the walls, spruce it up a little bit, and hopefully by October it'll reopen for the community. And that's all I have under the department.
Thank you. And commissioner reports.
A while back, I asked about the city council addressing the TOT tax. Have they done that yet? Or do they have any plans to do it?
So nothing imminent. Tom, do you have any idea of if that's going to come out of a future council meeting?
It would have to be as part of the fee study is what we were told, and it would be discussed if they choose to discuss it, which we're not sure if they are, so, yeah.
And then also, I'd like to know if we could do something and address the charging stations for electric vehicles, if we could get a moratorium temporarily put on them so that we can develop what should be aesthetically pleasing in our community before they just start popping up anywhere, and how we'd want them and what they should look like and placement. Because I can imagine just anybody putting them up anywhere. We've already seen that happen once, and it's made it difficult for another business. So we should, I personally think as a planning commission, bring that back and discuss and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, if that's going to be a decision brought to the table from the commission, we can certainly revisit that topic. EV charging stations, they are pretty prominently throughout communities, not just in Los Alamitos. So if there's anything in particular that we can look at, whether it's research-based, you mentioned aesthetics, we can certainly perform that research. It just requires the commission decision to bring it up at a future meeting. And yes, there might be some areas that we can sort of have influence over. Otherwise, if it's on a private property per se, then it's limited to us as a city to have any control over. Might have suggestions if it's somehow impeding certain traffic laws or perhaps pedestrian walkways or certain things that we can have decision over, but ultimately if it's on private property, we are limited. But be happy to bring this if it's a decision of the commission at a future meeting.
So is it possible for the commission to bring it forward and take a look at this?
Could I have a second
Yes.
speak? It's also, I hate to say this again, but the state requires us to not say anything about them for the most part, but we will do some research and see if there is any holes in that. Like with the ADU thing, that we made a few changes. We might be able to, but so far, no, so.
Okay, so maybe we could do that. I'm not totally against them. I just don't want to suddenly us look up and think how you park when you've got nothing but charging stations.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to people driving what they choose, but I want us to look at our city as well.
So the ones that are in the city, like at Chase, they didn't have to come to you for anything because it's private property?
They didn't have to come to me, but they did to the Building and Safety Department.
Okay.
It had to be safe, but I
But
was
that's
not
it.
able to say anything about it, but he
Yeah, I
seems
think
to.
we can look into this and report
Yeah.
back to you. I'll be the first to admit, it's not an issue I've looked at with any depth so far. I suspect that a lot of it's controlled by the state building standards codes, which would explain why it went straight through building and isn't something that we necessarily have zoning or aesthetic control over, but we can definitely look into that and report back to you to try to give you an understanding of what the lay of the land is there.
I'd appreciate it.
Commissioner DeWolf.
Then also along that same line, like with new construction, the 4 units that we're going to have coming before us, are we requiring, or is that in the state code that we have to, they have to make provision for electric vehicle charging?
Since that's a building and safety call, I haven't researched that myself and asked them that question. I'm not sure at this point. I know that Chase volunteered on their own. They wanted to because they have employees who
Right,
have
right.
electric vehicles, so, yeah.
We can certainly look into that, though.
I'm just curious. I mean,
Yeah.
we have a lot of rental properties, and, if a tenant in a building decides to get an electric vehicle and they want to somehow charge it, on existing stuff, it could be, costly either for a landlord or for the tenant to upgrade electrical so they can do that. But on new construction, I'm wondering is there anything coming down from the state requiring that, or?
Most of them plug in, most of them come with 2 different ways you can do it, and a lot of them just plug into 120. That's a slower way to charge. The adapter for the car is on the plug that they provided.
Right.
If they want to charge 240, that then would require, potentially, if they didn't have it in their garage or wherever they wanted to put it, could potentially require some rewiring.
Well, it's just
for
that a
them.
lot of
Any-
garages and stuff are they're not the individual.
But even now, any new construction you have with electrical panels, it has to be like a 20-amp panel. It has to be one that could sustain an electric thing anyway. So they're already requiring it.
Are they? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
We'll
We'll find out.
come
Just
back to
curious,
that.
just
Can't really
curious.
get into a prolonged discussion here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I just want to make sure we have a,
So you'll bring it back and get us some information?
yeah.
And then,
Do we have to make a motion on that?
Motion
Let's
on
make a
that,
motion
yeah,
on
We
that.
can agendize
So-
that for anybody that would be interested in learning
okay,
about.
I'd like to make a motion that we look into that, and even to add about the private residence, if you could look into that as well.
You have a second?
Second.
Our Commissioner DeWolf seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay?
Aye. Okay.
And one more thing on Serve La Salle, since you brought it up. For those that don't know, you can go to the website and volunteer to help a nonprofit by signing up to do some things. A variety of our nonprofits are getting help to either clean chairs, to do windows, to do maybe gardening here and there. I know there's a variety of things, so hint, hint. I've already signed up, and we already know I would have. But at any rate, if anybody else thinks about it, please, and you can bring your kids, they'd have a good time too. We've watched some of the kids do some of these projects, and it's fun. It really is. That's all.
Anybody else?
I've got one. If you remember, we approved the remodel of the gas station on Catella and Siboney, and they had a grand opening this weekend, and it went really well for them. They were very pleased, but if you haven't stopped by to check it out, it's
It's really nice.
pretty impressive inside. They did a really good job on design and making the place look really nice. They offer diesel and E85 now too, flex fuel, which is, they didn't have before, so they actually put in an additional tank. So anyway, just want to let you know,
And they had
it turned out really nice.
They had some flyers about some freebies, like certain days,
Yeah.
right?
Eight,
got
eight
that
days of
too.
freebies.
Forgot about it.
I've participated in a few of them.
All 8 of them, huh?
Not 8. I think we still got a couple more days.
And we should, our staff, give them a kudos for being part of helping to make that look the way it does, and all these commissioners up here, because that went a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, it looks nice.
The staff did a really good job, and all you guys
The
did
city
too.
attorney did a good job too, I think.
No, you did. Yes.
Sorry, I forgot.
Sure.
My comment. It's regarding the agendas and the information that we receive and how we're receiving it. I had difficulty accessing it on the website, okay? And I don't know, I'd go to the link and all I could get was archived stuff or old stuff and no new stuff. And so, and I don't know, it said sign in. Are we required now to sign in?
No, I did the same thing. If you click
It's-
at the link on the top, it takes you to old ones. If you scroll down, you see the future.
Also too, sometimes when it uploads to, it uploads into a document now. It doesn't just pop up right away. Sometimes you have to go into your,
Yeah.
It
your,
changed.
Right.
yeah.
your downloaded documents. It is tricky. It can be tricky.
I don't mind getting it so I can, having electronically because I can look at it, but when it comes to the meetings, we need to have hard copies. Either that or we got to have a laptop or something up here where we can scroll through and look at this stuff. I don't want to print 100 pages. I mean, if we were going to have a big discussion on the one
Sure.
agenda item we had, it was 96 pages. I don't want to be printing 96 pages.
Yeah, I addressed it before I got here. I was, they are sending emails out asking if we want them delivered or not, but sometimes I caught them after the delivery
Yeah.
date, so I just put in a request to have it delivered all the time, and that will take care of it. Because I was looking on my phone, and it's
Yeah.
easier to print that from just to send it to the printer from my phone, but it's difficult to look at on my phone, so.
I can speak to the laptops and what we were looking at previously were iPads. And unfortunately, we were having some technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi and uploading it, especially like, as you mentioned, when there's large
Yeah.
files, documents.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's something that we're internally trying to work through for the purpose of trying to be efficient with paper.
Right.
But in the meantime, yes, if you would like to receive the packet, we can arrange that with Gabby to make sure that you receive it in advance. While we're trying to figure out the technological issues with our Wi-Fi, it's a work in progress, unfortunately.
So what do we want to do? Does everyone want to have it delivered? Does everyone want to come pick it up from the city?
I mean, I'll pick it up too, but.
I would too. I don't know what's better for everybody or what's better for staff. I don't know how,
I can pick it up. I mean, that's fine.
We can issue an email, and if anyone wants to
we can
receive it,
decide what we want to do.
we'll make arrangements for that. And if someone would like to pick it up, we can make arrangements for that as well.
All right.
Yeah. We-
And Michael, do we still have to get everything through the city email? Because like, I only checked it on Monday because I knew the meeting was this week. It's just not, it doesn't pop up that I have an email. I have to go and look. And I used to be able to forward it to my Gmail and it won't let you do that anymore.
Yeah, I think that's actually a question for the clerk's office and
Okay.
potentially even the IT department. I don't know if they set up situations where they'll
Okay.
automatically forward to another account or not. So I
Okay.
just don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I can prompt that question. One glaring issue that I can foresee is just, communication with it being sensitivity to information that's pertinent to the city. It's a lot more secure when it's in the network and it's within the city email address.
Okay.
So I can foresee that being an explanation, but I have no problem inquiring with the
Okay.
city clerk as well.
But it's still just the public link.
That's what they said in the beginning when we went to these. That was the reasoning.
Right.
And
But isn't it just same document that the public accesses? We don't get any additional information.
It would
No,
be like
we-
communication, though.
we
like-
do get-
in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do get some stuff periodically.
And also remember that makes your email service open to being
Shared.
records requests. and your personal stuff being read at the city council meeting.
While,
Yeah.
while we're on that subject, just to be clear, it would not necessarily take the city emailing you something on your personal account to make that subject to disclosure. Anytime you
Right.
communicate or conduct
Yeah.
any sort of city business, even if it's on a private cell phone, private email, et cetera, that's technically a public record that's subject to disclosure. So just something to keep on mind there.
Okay. I just have one thing. I know that the city council meeting starts at 6 o'clock, and I can't remember what the reason was of why we went to 7 versus 6. I was just thinking about that the other day. Do we still have
can
that?
eat dinner before we come.
Okay, you like
I mean,
7?
people who've,
Okay, okay.
Or I can get off work.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7's a little easier for me.
Yeah.
7's good.
I could come straight from football practice.
You know, I was just saying, I just recalling why we have it at 7 o'clock. You know what I mean? 7 o'clock is a great time. I agree. You know, 7
So somebody here has banker's hours, and
Right.
it's a little easier for them to get here.
Hey, 10 to 2, no matter
That's right,
whether I want to be there or not, 10 to 2. Okay. City council obviously is a much freer body than we are, or a little more restrictive body than the city council. So, okay, never mind. I withdraw my comment. And with that, we'll adjourn to September 27th.